I've been teaching meditation for 15 years. And also, I like this Smiling Friends show. So let's have a look at it at Mr. Frog Finds Inner Peace. So Mr. Frog walks out of his dad's place that he's just seen for the first time. And then, he walks off into the forest and loses his shit and throws a tree through the moon. And I mean, this is very common with a person that is coming in to meditate for the first time. They've probably had some big event occur. They've probably had to face the fact that everything they've achieved, there's still a degree of emptiness, and we can't really heal the past. Essentially, people come to learn meditation as a last resort, just like Mr. Frog taking over the whole world and becoming the greatest UFC fighter the world has ever known, just by standing there. People come to a point in which that doesn't work anymore. There's still a gap, there's still a hole. And so generally some kind of big event that signals to them that, okay, maybe always looking outwards can't be my only way to find meaning. Let's continue. And so, yes, he screams and all of the animals in the forest fly off into the distance. This is also this kind of rage before an experience that is quite life-changing is very common. There's many well-known Indian yogis who will talk about how their teacher said something and it absolutely overwhelmed them and they ran off into the forest just like this, punching things, not quite hurling things through the moon, but close enough, and then fall into a meditation and achieve a very powerful state. Not unbelievable. And so he closes his eyes and pretty much instantly, of course, he goes to a place beyond all of the blackness, which is interesting as well because generally, for many people, it might take them quite some time to come to that place in which even they get to a kind of empty nothingness. And Mr. Frog, of course, achieves that within milliseconds and then comes out to the other side, a kind of transparent, light, clear place. And this is also very normal, actually. You can come through that nothingness and find a nothingness that is kind of warm, light, open, expansive. And so, I mean, that experience is also pretty much spot on. Mr. Frog is on it.
Hello, Mr. Frog. You did it. You've achieved inner peace.
Hello. Who are you?
I'm the bug of knowledge. I have all the answers to all of life's questions.
He meets something there. And this is a little abstract, but my personal experience was when I was meditating for 14 hours a day for months, I didn't sleep that much, but when I did sleep, I would have these dreams, many dreams. And one of the dreams was that it was kind of like a race, and everybody was racing to some state, some deeper level of consciousness, and everybody was really racing to get there. And I was racing as well. And towards the finish line, I came along almost there, just right at the front of the pack. And there was a little old guy selling watermelons in my dream. And right before the finish line, he looked so endearing and so wonderful and so playful. I turned around and I just started chatting to this guy selling watermelons. And at that moment, as soon as I turned back around and said, I better get to this race, then one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had occurred. It was almost like this with the bug of knowledge, there was like a very, very powerful experience of being and just absolutely overwhelming experience of like bliss and light and freedom and all of these wonderful things. It was so intense that even though I was still asleep, it felt like my ears were bleeding. And so it looks like Mr. Frog didn't need 14 hours. He needed about 14 milliseconds.
I must ask you answers to all of life's questions. But before I reveal them, there is something I must ask you.
Okay.
My computer's been acting really slow lately, and I'm just going around asking anybody who could help. I mean, anybody who could help with my computer because it's a real. I need it for work.
And so the bug of knowledge is lacking in computer skills. I think that a lot of this is with Smiling Friends. I think they just have very relatable characters. It's almost like the neurosis of the writers. It's kind of like Seinfeld, but times 1,000. Somehow it's like an observational comedy, but very, very niche.
Maybe it's a virus.
No, I called Geek Squad, and they said they checked it out, and they said it wasn't a virus. So I know it's not that. I know it's not that.
But,
Sorry. You know.
I love that this is very awkward here, in that at some very broad states, it can get confusing and clumsy. And instead of trying to hold on to how special this state is and how amazing you are for your meditative skills, instead just opening to the silliness of it is my recommendation in order to go that little bit further. It's about kind of opening to the absurd and instead of getting attached to the experience. That's how you go further than before. The attachment to the experience in the meditation starts to take you away from actually broader states of consciousness.
You know.
I don't know. I really have no idea.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, when I say like slow browser, does that scream software to you or hardware problem?
No, I don't.
And they just drag it out. And I like this as well. It's just absurd. And actually, there's many layers of the mind. I remember once in the depths of a meditation going through some layer of the mind, and I swear that my mind on one layer was just whistling to itself, just like do 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 in the background. And I wonder, even to this day, if there's just some layer of my awareness that is just twiddling its thumbs and whistling. The mind is a wild thing, and Smiling Friends, I think, shows a little bit how the mind is even a little bit more wild in the modern day.
No, that's cool, man. I figured. I appreciate the help, anyways. I mean, I probably just need a whole new computer at this point.
Hello, what am I doing here?
Oh yeah, you just need to eat me and.
Hello, what am I doing here? I don't have any comments on that. I just think that's great.
All will be clear.
Okay.
And he gobbles up the bug of knowledge, and off he goes on, yeah, like a zoomed out perspective of his life. And yeah, I mean, in some states in meditation, you can zoom out and see your life as if from the outside. I remember meditating by an ocean once, also meditating too long, as they would say. I don't know who they are, but too long. And yeah, at some point, I kind of zoomed out and experienced what I felt like. I don't know if you could call that finding yourself, but I felt what it felt like to be me. Kind of in the way that with your friend, another friend of yours, you'll both be kind of holding this experience of what it is to be their friend. And so you know what it feels like to feel the essence of someone a little bit. This is very common for people, but often we don't see it for ourselves. And I've caught glimpses of this, and it's a beautiful thing. I would recommend meditating so that you may experience it yourself someday. And that's it. Mr. Frog is just a frog. And I think that this is a beautiful ending, which is that he comes to a place where he can just be what he is, instead of needing the world around him to bring him meaning and purpose alone. It doesn't mean that those things are wrong, but clearly Mr. Frog was able to achieve finding meaning of just being a frog. And with meditation over time, you can find meaning of just being a human, living a life, making mistakes, being confused, being a mess until you die, which is pretty much the most likely outcome for every single person on the planet. We're going to be messy until the day we die, no matter how much we think we have achieved. So to come to a place where you can just be a frog, you can just be a human, that is a good end place. And then at the end he says goodbye, which it isn't goodbye. There is more beyond that. Once you've achieved everything you wanted to in your life, I've worked with many clients who've done that and just couldn't stop succeeding. And then the emptiness comes and they stand up on stage and accept the award. And then they come down off stage and say, it was the emptiest moment of my life. You know, people have said that to me several times. And then they go through all this meditation stuff and then they realize, oh, okay, I can find who I am and I can become just myself. But it's not goodbye. There's more to go after that. We can reintegrate with the world after that. We can restart our engagement with the world of action and meaning. So once you go inwards, it is no goodbye. You have to come back outwards. And this is a lot of a misunderstanding that we get these days, because people get to a state of nothingness and then they think they should stay there forever. That's not for everyday people. Instead, we should come back into the world more powerfully. And that's a whole process in and of itself, which I'm sure Mr. Frog will be able to achieve within milliseconds. If you to take anything out of it, it is real, it is true. I've met people like this. I've taught people meditation like this, and they've come to that state relatively quickly, but it's not the end. Then I start helping them reintegrate into the world. We don't need a whole bunch of powerful people learning to let up all of their power and be in a perfect place to not be needy or greedy or corrupt, to just drop away and live in the jungles. We need these kind of people back in the world once they've come to that place of groundedness and just being a frog. So keep up your meditation. It might take you more than a few milliseconds, but slow and steady, and everything that you see there is real, including to some degree that absolutely absurd character right at the end of consciousness. There's the old story of Yudhishthira and the dog Dharma. You can look up that story after you watch this video. But other than that, check out another video, and if you like this kind of format, press a like, and I'll see you next time.